Mr. Brown.
Strategies that work, or that I've found that have worked to a degree when it comes to building an online presence, is you have to be unique. You have to bring some sort of energy. It can't be faked, because when you start to fake things, it's just not gonna fucking work. And anything in life, if you're faking it and it's not true, at some point it's gonna die down. And when it comes to algorithms and being pushed and whatnot in front of audiences, just be you. The best way to separate yourself from a crowd is by being you. And I don't mean the you that pleases everybody around you. No, I mean the you that's in your fucking room in an empty house, listening to music and you're dancing around the room and screaming at the top of your lungs. That you. Because that you is the most unique to the world. And if you don't know how to express that, you better figure it out fucking quickly. Right? Because as a man, you need to understand that there's not much that is being done in today's society. There's not much. You might see a lot of bullshit going around in the news and all this other fuckery, but there's not much going on in terms of uniqueness. People aren't allowing themselves to be expressed in the true manner that they are. If you agree with some of the topics I speak on, yes, you have to apply those topics in a specific way that works for your life. Because I'm speaking about my life and what's worked in my realm. But there's a realm that you sit in that the world can benefit from only if you speak about it. Whatever you're doing, in whatever artistry that you're doing, like whatever you're doing, painting, musician, anything, doesn't matter. Speak about it from an authentic place. The pains, the struggles, the effort, the ins and outs. Be an expert of yourself and then be able to elaborate on all of your experiences. Tell as many stories as possible, which means you need to do a lot of stuff. The social media platforms and your digital presence is based on the amount of information that you can give to somebody through the experience that you have already lived. You have to live a little to be able to speak to the masses, right? And if you're artist, if you're doing art or whatever, be expressing yourself in whatever form, and any way that you're expressing yourself is art. So when you're doing that, you have to be able to speak to your unique things that you've done and that you're doing and that you've gone through. Align your story. Like what are the building blocks of your story? And to make that make sense, at the base, if you've been here for a bit, you know I played soccer and I really didn't care about school, just women in soccer. Okay, cool. The next building block, I quit soccer, I went to Japan, meditated for 5 days in the dark, only drank water, met a monk, changed my life forever. Came back, started to do YouTube for a bit, fell off, got my dream job out of college, and then I went into a place of entrepreneurship and quit my job and started off. Then I went to Coke, and I was putting up bottles on a shelf, and then at some point, my mentor called me and told me I was distracted. Hung up in my face, I wrote down my distractions, I got rid of my distractions. 28 days later, I tripled my income and then 6x my income over 2 weeks, right? And then that kicked off my entrepreneurship on my 5th business into the entrepreneurship space, and I've never worked for somebody else again in my life so far, and don't plan to, right? So I just ran you through the monumental parts of my life in my story. So figure out what those monumental steps are in your life, and then be able to speak it towards them. And that, it doesn't just mean, oh, that's it. No, it's like, those are the monumental things that have made me who I am today, and this is why I draw so well. And this is why I'm a pro athlete. And this is why I like to play the piano. And this is why I'm a top kickboxer. This is why I'm a boxer. This is why I'm this. You understand what I'm saying? Your story will precede you as long as you build it correctly and it can be understood by many people very quickly. When someone hears you speak, when someone sees your face, when someone sees the art that you make or create, you want them to understand you and be able to almost resonate with the message that you're giving, even if they're not in that field. When people, remember, what's that guy that draws, or not draws, but paints? Bob, he was a painter, right? Everyone can relate to him to some degree because he's speaking from a place of relatability. Do that. Tell your story and be relatable. Bro, like, we've all been through hard shit. We've all go through life. We're all going and doing things in our own fashion, but we all can relate because we're all human beings. If you're looking to do anything in this day and age, you're gonna need to have an online presence. There's only a handful of apps that you can operate on. So when you're looking to present yourself to the world and showcase maybe ideas, maybe you have a certain skill, you're good at having conversations we're doing right now, you have any sort of business idea that you're looking to grow or show the world, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're on these platforms. So Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. You really want to focus on 2 of those that you find are best. The best, in my opinion, Instagram. Everyone has an Instagram, so you must have an Instagram. First thing people are going to look for is the most common app, Instagram. So you want to have your resume on there. We'll talk about exactly how to build that in a second. And then the second is to build another one, YouTube. Because 1, in the long run, YouTube will pay you for showcasing your skills. 2, it gives you a bit more credibility, because if you're speaking in long form content about something that you're trying to teach people, people are going to come to you as the expert in that field. Those are the 2 that I kind of focus on. Twitter, if you're really good at typing and if you're able to describe what you would have otherwise spoken through text, Twitter's for you. LinkedIn, maybe you want a little bit more professional. You want people to find you in a professional manner and then follow suit into Instagram and or Twitter, YouTube, or TikTok. If you're making video content, of course, TikTok is definitely the way to go. YouTube Shorts is also another alternative, and then Instagram and Facebook Reels. When you're going online to express yourself, you want to stay cohesive. You want it to be in flow. The person that you see right here is the same sort of feel, vibe, and person that you'll get from Instagram if you were to go on my Instagram. So when you're making your digital footprint to express yourself, you want it to be cohesive. You don't want here on one app, you're maybe this painter who is talking about baby wisdom and these things, and then over on your Instagram, you're a rock star that is on a stage partying every day. When I click this, I find one person. When I click this, I find a different person. You want to make sure that your app and your social footprint is the same. Showcase and really show people who you are in your day-to-day. I like speaking about problems that men go through and helping men grow themselves, not only image-wise, but in their mental space, to garnish them revenue that will then change their life. That you will find on my profiles. You will hear a lot of wisdom. You will hear a lot of me speaking about things that you have to think about. It's the same for you. Figure out what you're good at, figure out what you want to put online, and that is for you to know. And you'll figure that out along the way, but don't give it too much thought and get too focused on, what do I want to speak about? What comes natural to you? You don't need to overthink, go into a deep dive of searching, because what we all do is tend to procrastinate when we have to think about something. We do more thinking than we do doing. Sometimes you have to do, and then look back and say, okay, this has worked, this didn't work, let me remove this, add more of this. And when you start to get into the vibe of understanding how to present yourself online and it becomes more cohesive, people will then put you in a place of authority in certain categories that you speak about or that you're in, because you've been doing it for so long. Like for me, I've been making YouTube videos since I was in 2018. Was it consistent? For the most part, yes, and then you take years off to learn and grow and do all these things, right? But it all depends on what you're really trying to showcase. But in the full haul, you really want to stay consistent with a specific theme, message, or category of life that you really sit in. Once you find that cohesive message that you're trying to present to an audience, you want to make sure that it's optimized for that app. So Instagram, right? Instagram, TikTok, and Shorts. If you're making Reels, again, are the only thing that work on Instagram. You have to be able to pay attention to these things. And if you're in the digital realm, you have to stay up to date. So follow Instagram, follow the CEO, follow the people who are making the app work, right? Because they will tell you what changes are coming, what things need to be done to implement on your page to make sure that your page continues to grow and thrive. So if you think about it, if Instagram says photos are not going to be pushed, there's no reason to post photos unless you're just making your aesthetic look good. Don't expect to grow, but just expect that your aesthetic will look good, right? So you can always add photos, but realistically, they're not going to do anything. If Reels is what they're trying to do, because they're trying to compete against TikTok and YouTube Short, then you want to post Reels. Figure out and optimize your page on whatever specific platform that you're on to make sure that you can continue to grow in a fashion that works for that app. It's not, overnight that you'll figure this all out. You may not, but it takes time. Figure out what works. You do your YouTube search. There's no fucking excuse for not knowing how to operate. You have Google, you have YouTube. Them is the 2 you need. Get rid of the white noise. You're gonna hear a lot of people talk. You're gonna hear a lot of people do certain things that work for them, but doesn't work for you. Figure out your own style, but also then follow up with research on Google and YouTube. Whatever app that you're picking, focus on that. And then double down on your research on how to operate in that app. Once you have enough, if you're men, experience we all on YouTube to and Google, because we're men. You need to try the more specific you get, the literally more you need to just go out, start posting shit. Like follow the Gary V method for 2 seconds here. Start making a lot of content around a certain specific subject and let it thrive and let it go. And then continue to make every single day until something kicks and sticks. And then you'll figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Make your story relatable. Figure out the pillars in your life. Understand how to then express yourself, whether it be through your painting, whether it be through your singing, the way you play an instrument, the way you speak, whatever it is, put that online. Once you have it online, now you need to start to figure out how to optimize each of these apps that you're on. I like to use 2. You may like to use less or more. Doesn't matter. I find myself using 2 the most. Optimize those apps and the messages that you're making. Make that message very cohesive, so that when people click on any one of these platforms that you're on, it will stay in line with the overall message or the overarching message. And then continue to create and stay consistent every single day. That's it. Building an online presence is not something you need to just like bang your head against the wall about. No, just start posting. That's it. And figure it out along the way. And when you start to stumble, all you have to do is call onto YouTube and Google. Very simple. Boom, voila. Now you're on your way to making your online presence.
Boy, Mr. Brown.